everyone. I hope you guys have enjoyed all of the recipes that we shared so far this week. I hope you guys have been able to experiment a little bit and learn some. Today we are going to do pizza, which is a big favorite in our house, and I hope with this recipe it can become a favorite in your house as well. So we're going to start with our pizza dough. We have the recipe back here. It has 3 cups of flour, a teaspoon of salt and yeast, a 1/3 cup of oil, and 1 to 1 1/4 cup of warm water. It just depends on how your dough is looking, and I'll show you how to gauge that here in just a minute. So I have our flour already measured out into our bowl. I'm going to go ahead and add our salt to that. Remember our teaspoon measure. And then I'm going to get some warm water, and what we're going to do is we're going to start our yeast, and that takes just a couple minutes. It just gets it wet and bubbly and activated before you add it to our flour. We have our warm water, and we are going to add a teaspoon of yeast. You can pick up packets at the store of like quick rise yeast, or you can buy a small jar. This is bulk, so this is not what you're going to get at the store, but you can buy a jar about this big. It's actually cheaper to buy it bulk, and that way you have it on hand whenever you want to make pizza dough or bread. So I just sprinkled that on top of our cup of warm water. And you can also, this is not in the recipe, but you can add a pinch of sugar, and that gives the yeast a little something to grow on, if that makes sense, to eat.
To eat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a living organism. Mm-hmm. You're bringing it back to life.
Yeah, the yeast has been dried,
mm-hmm.
and what we're doing is we're giving it water, food, and warmth in the water here. And we're going to let that sit probably about 3 to 5 minutes, and it's going to get really soft and bubbly. It's set for probably 2 minutes, and it's starting to get some bubbles in there, and it's soft. Mm-hmm. And we're going to go ahead and add that to our dough. Now, another tip here is I've put my salt in on this side of the bowl, and I'm going to add my water and yeast to the other side because salt actually inhibits yeast. Now, you don't have to be too particular about this, but just as a tip.
Okay. You have peace.
Are you coming to help? Yeah. And we're going to add our 1/3 cup of oil. Now, just like we did with the tortillas, we're going to start with a spoon, and then we are going to get our hands in this. So this is formed a dough ball now. I've had my hands in here for a couple minutes, and I did add a little bit more water. Now, always err on the side of less water than more, because a little will go a very long way. Even if it feels dry, make sure you work it for a minute or 2 before adding a little bit more water. Now, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to actually knead this. In case you ever want to do bread dough. So what I do is I use the palm of my hand right here, and you push down in the center, and then fold it back up on itself. So you have a log like that, flip it over and do the same thing. And you'll soon get a rhythm. Now with bread dough, you should do this probably about 3 to 5 minutes. And that builds up the gluten in the flour. That's what makes it stretchy and helps it hold its shape. With pizza dough, it's actually, I'm not too picky with that because you're not having big slices of bread, you're just having a crust. So I go ahead and do this just enough to have a nice smooth ball of dough. And then we're going to return it to our bowl, get your oil, add just a little bit in the bottom of the bowl, take the top of your ball, and just coat it in oil. And what this does is it helps it to not form a skin, and that's what you want. You want your dough to stay moist and out of any windy areas, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And that will help it rise. Now go ahead and wrap this in plastic wrap or put like a slightly damp tea towel over it, and we're going to let it sit probably 30 to 45 minutes. And the best way to check this is to see if it has doubled in size. Now, since it's pizza crust, it's not quite as finicky as bread. So, if you just want to let it sit for like 20 to 30 minutes, that'll be just fine. Okay, so our dough has risen a good bit. This is actually a little bit more than doubled in size. This has been sitting for over an hour just because of time and little ones. So, but it is ready to use now. So we get a large sheet tray, add some oil, and you can be generous with the oil and get your hands dirty. Just go ahead and work it in there. I like using a bottle of vegetable oil better for pizza dough because I like a nice crispy crust. In our pan, and this dough is actually enough to make 2 sheet trays sizes like this. We can do either pizzas, or I'm also going to show you how to make stromboli. So go ahead and take half of your dough and you just work on pressing it out into your pan. Now you can use a rolling pin too, which actually will work probably a little bit better than your hands. But just do your best. It will shrink back on itself, so you can let it rest for a minute and then push it out some more. Alright, we have our crust spread out now. It's not completely perfect, but that's the great thing about stuff that's homemade. If it tastes good, nobody cares what it looks like.
Yeah.
So we're going to go ahead and add some sauce. This is just a little can of tomato sauce. You can use stuff that's actually pizza sauce, but honestly, my kids love spaghetti sauce as their pizza sauce. So use whatever you have. It really doesn't matter too much. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and use this. It'll work a lot easier. Yeah.
There you go.
And then when it comes to toppings, I always start with cheese, but then after that, do whatever you want. It can be pepperoni, it can be sausage. We like to make meatloaf for dinner and then use the leftover meatloaf on top of our pizza. It's delicious. You can put veggies, whatever you want. I'm using Monterey Jack and mild cheddar. I usually use mozzarella and cheddar.
So you can put meat on there as long as it's cooked before you put it on there.
Yeah.
Like your leftover meatloaf, leftover cheeseburgers, chicken. We're using turkey pepperoni today. But you can use regular pepperoni as well. Pepperoni. I like to put Parmesan on top of mine after the pepperoni.
Yes, that's a good idea.
But it doesn't matter. And if you want your pepperoni under your cheese, that's fine too.
You can also spread a little bit of Italian seasoning or garlic salt on top of it. That's really good. That's going in the oven. I preheated this to 400. You can go anywhere from 400 to 425. The hotter the better when it comes to pizza. Now I'm going to show you guys how to make a quick stromboli. Now this does not use pizza sauce, but I always have it on the side to dip it in case you want to. So go ahead and make kind of an oblong shape with your dough. You can do it right on the pizza pan. I already greased this. And go ahead and make a rectangle shape with your dough.
Having risen that much makes it really nice and soft and easy to play with.
Yeah, it's
Good.
really nice. I'm going to do some turkey and pepperoni inside this one, but you can do literally whatever you want. My sister-in-law makes it with meatballs and cheese. It's really good.
That sounds good.
You can do kind of like an Italian sub, like salami and ham and turkey. Just pepperoni and cheese, like a pizza, whatever you want to do. Now, one thing I will say helps is to go ahead and put your meat down first and then your cheese. And the meat kind of encases the cheese so it doesn't soak up into your bread.
Okay. And you're doing a single layer, kind of covering the whole thing?
Yep.
Okay.
Add your cheese.
And then cheese.
You can also add herbs to this. Like I said, with the pizza, you can put some garlic salt or Italian seasoning inside here.
I love fresh basil in there. Chopped
Yes,
up.
that's
Oh
good.
my.
Yeah.
Or dried seasoning, like the Italian seasoning sounds good.
Yeah, get some basil from your farmer's market. That would be great.
Yes. And then pepperoni.
And go ahead and pack it in there because you're going to be slicing this up once it's cooked.
How many servings do you think this makes?
Well, we have a family of 5 right now, and the kids are 7 to 2. So this usually feeds 5 of us, just this one stromboli, but I usually have a side dish. I usually have a salad, or we really like it with potato soup, anything like that. But a salad is quick and easy, so you can do it with dipping sauce and salad. You'll be good to go.
Great.
So let me show you how to put this together. You're going to take the sides and fold them over just a little bit. The goal is to keep all of your meat and cheese inside, and you don't want any of it to leak out while baking. Now you can just roll this up if you want to, or we can fold it over. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to roll it. Now on this side, what you're going to do, you're going to pull this up, and you're going to go ahead and pinch that all the way down.
It's like one giant pepperoni roll.
Exactly.
Yeehaw.
Exactly. And then go ahead and put that on the bottom.
Okay.
So you have a nice smooth top right here. And then you're going to go ahead and what's called scoring. You take a really sharp knife like your paring knife that we used yesterday, or one of these days for the banana.
Yeah.
And just slice not into the dough too much, but just enough, like 1/8 of an inch into the dough. And that just helps steam to rise out of it. We're going to pop it in the oven with a pizza.
There's the pizza. All right.
So here's our pizza. It's all done.
Yummy.
Yeah. It took about 10 to 15 minutes. It really does not take long to bake, especially when it's at a high temperature. The stromboli will take a little bit longer. And since we're doing it at the same time, I'm going to go ahead and set that up on the top rack. That should probably take 20 to 30 minutes. Here's our stromboli. That's beautiful. It's nice and brown. Nothing has,
yeah.
that seal stayed beautifully. So we're going to let this cool now, and then we'll slice it up to enjoy. All right, now our stromboli has cooled at least a little bit. It's still pretty hot to the touch, but I just wanted to go ahead and show you guys how we slice it. So I'm just going to use this towel so I don't burn my fingers. And then this is a regular bread or serrated knife. And just start at the edge, and especially when things are hot like this, don't push down too much because that will just make it squish. Let the knife do its job. Just go back and forth and it will cut through.
Okay. Now show us what it looks like on the inside. We have a little bit of pizza sauce left too, so we can dip it in if we want. Yum, that looks good.
And then store it in the fridge and have it for snacks for the next week. But enjoy, everybody.